Hello, third graders. Welcome back. Today will be the last math video you will be getting from me this year. I cannot believe how fast the year has flown by. And even through these crazy times, I've loved making these for you and helping you guys through all of your third grade math. So today we are going to continue finding the perimeter of shapes. And we're going to also continue doing that, but we're going to see some new problems where we're going to be finding the missing sides of shapes. So we're going to know the perimeter, but we have to figure out the missing sides. So let's take a look at these problems right here first, just to review what we already have completed and worked on regarding perimeter. So remember, we are going to work with the equation P equals length plus width plus length plus width. And we've talked about how that just means that you're going to be adding all the sides up together to find the perimeter. So in this shape right here, let's try to figure out the perimeter. So we add 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3. And when we add all those up, I know 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 4 plus 3 is 7. So my total is going to be 14 because 7 plus 7 is 14. Then we talked a little bit about these kind of shapes right here where you have a rectangle or you have a square and you might know some of the sides. Well, in rectangles and squares, you are able to know that the sides are parallel and they stop at the same points. For example, we used that 4th grade RATS book and we said that it's not going to be all wonky. Rectangle and squares have the exact same lengths and sides. So that means that we know if this is a rectangle, if this is going to be 5, this side over here is also going to be 5 of whatever units we're talking about. And if this side is 2, the side parallel or across from it going in the same direction is also going to be 2. So now that we found all of our sides, we are able to add them all up using the perimeter equation. And we can say that the perimeter, let's see if we add them all up. 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 2 more, is also 14. So here we have two perimeters that have 14. So they look a little different and they have different dimensions, but they still have the same perimeter. Some problems you're going to see today are a shape asking for the perimeter, and it doesn't give you any sides, which might seem weird, but it does give you these boxes that help you figure out the side that you're looking for. So for example, say that each of these boxes is worth 1 unit of measurement. Doesn't matter what we're talking about. We could be talking about meters, miles, yards, inches, but we do know that we're talking about some sort of unit. So in order to find this, and it says in the whatever you're reading or the directions, it'll tell you how much each one of these is valued at. So if it doesn't, I can pretend that it's worth 1, but it usually will tell you. So that means if you're finding the perimeter, you have to count. So remember when we were doing area, and you would just say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. I got it. The area is 5. Perimeter works a little bit like that too. But remember, the perimeter is the area around it, the space around your area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write on here so that you guys are able to visualize and able to see what I'm talking about we can find this perimeter. So for example, right here, your perimeter of this piece, or the length of this piece, would be 1. Do you see how only 1 box is right here? So that would be 1. Now let's see how many boxes are going down. 1, 2, 3. So the perimeter, or the length of this side is worth 3. Same thing here. Let's see how many go across. 1, 2, 3. All right, remember the perimeter goes all the way around. So we got to keep going until we are at this point in the shape, until the whole area is covered up by this perimeter. So now I'm going to go up. I see that this is worth 1 right here. I'm going to go across here, and I see that this is worth 2 because 1 2 spaces. And then let's check out this side right here. 1, 2. This one is also 2. So even though I wasn't given any numbers, I was able to use the boxes provided for me to help me figure out the perimeter around the shape. So now that I know all of the sides, I can figure out what the perimeter is. So let's see. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9, plus 2 more is 11. So all I did was add those up. Oh, and you know what? I think I made a mistake, which is why it's very good to always write everything down. So let's double check my work. 3 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. All right, let's check this out. 3 plus 3 is 6. 1 plus 2 is 2. What? It must be too late for me. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then 2 plus 1 is 3. All right, so now let's add those all up. 6 plus 3 is 9. Add 3 more, 9, 10, 11, 12. And what's great about this, I'm glad that I'm having a teachable moment here, is because when I did try to do all of that in my head, I made a mistake, and that's okay. Remember, when you're working on math, mistakes are part of learning and just show that you're really trying. So this shows me that if I do show my work and I do write it out, I have a better chance of success than if I were to sit here and try to do it all in my head. So let's try the next one. So same thing, remember, we don't know any of the sides to this shape, but that's our job, is to try to figure it out by looking at the different boxes and the sides of them. So we talked about before, remember if this was area, we'd be just counting our boxes, the space inside this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our area would be 5. But remember, we're trying to make a perimeter, the space or the sides to go around this. Think of this as like a funky looking garden, and we're trying to make a fence around the garden to keep the rabbits or whatever is going to eat our vegetables. So in order to do that, we need to know the lengths of the supplies to buy. So let's see. We know that this right here, the value of this side is 1. Let's see, 1, 2. This right here is 1. This right here is 1. That would be tricky. So make sure that you always are looking for every different way these shapes could be going. Okay, now this is 1, 2. This is 1. Oh, this is going to be tricky. This is 1. This side's 1. This side's 1. And this side's 1. Look at all that. Who knew? Finding area was a little bit easier, wasn't it? So now I'm going to write it out because we saw that I definitely can make mistakes. So let's see. I have 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2. And these I'm just going to count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's do some work on this. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, and then I'm going to bring my other 6 here. Remember, you can solve this any way you want. That's just how I decided to break it up. You could do any way you want as long as you're adding all the sides up together. So now I'm left with 6 plus 6, and I know 6 plus 6 is 12. And whatever units we're talking about would be the perimeter or the length of all this space, the length around this shape. So the other thing you're going to be working on today is you are going to be given a shape, and your job is to try to find the missing side. So for example, before we talked about if you have a square, let's do a square this time, a perfect square, and it gives you a number, and you see that this is a square, you can assume that all sides are the same because we know that in square all sides are the same. But what if I get a triangle shaped like this? And I see that this is 3 and this is 4, because it's not a perfect triangle. Now, a perfect triangle, all of them would be the same, but as you can see here, mine's a little wonky. So, because of that, what you're going to do is it's going to give you 2, or however many sides it gives you, all except 1. It's going to give you those dimensions. And it's going to tell me something like the perimeter is going to be 10. So, what our job is to do is to try to find this missing side right here. And how we're going to do that is we are going to see that if the perimeter is 10, and I know 2 sides, well, I'm going to do what I would do if I was looking for, like in a math problem. You know how you have to subtract to try to find the difference? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to figure out what we know. And what we do know is 2 sides of this triangle. So let's see. I know that 3 plus 4 is 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract what I do know from the whole perimeter to see the missing side. So let's see. If I do 10 minus, we know that 3 plus 4 was 7, I get 3. So let's see if I take this right here and I say that this is 3. Let's see if we add all those sides up if we actually do get the perimeter of 10. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 3 more is 10. Now we have our perimeter of 10. So that means that the missing side was 3. Let's do another one. What if I have shape like this, let's say. Okay, let's say I'm finding this side right here. I'm going to do C for conjugate. And I know that the whole perimeter is 16. So, let's see. Remember, what we're going to do first is we're going to figure out what we do know. We know that in a perimeter you add up all the sides, but I'm missing a side. So I take my perimeter that I know, and I add 7 plus 4. And that'll help me figure out what the difference is. So let's see, 7 plus 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we know 11 inches or 11 feet. We know 11 of the 16 are taken care of and accounted for. So now we're trying to find the C. So let's subtract now. 6 minus 1 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. So that would mean that our missing side is 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double check my work. Let's see. I know that 7 plus 4 is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I now have all the sides, and I know that they total up to the perimeter. So when you're working on this today, the first thing you want to do is add what you do know, and then you're going to subtract from the total. So good luck today. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll also be doing math help today if you guys need anything. Have a great day. Bye.